Hello and welcome again to another episode of Bourbon with Friends, Bourbon Across America edition. Today we're joined by a special guest. He has compiled over 293 games in the big leagues. We're really excited to have him, Mr. Matt Davidson. Matt, how are you doing?
Doing great. Pumped to be here, and thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
So, obviously you play professional baseball. If people didn't get that by the intro, then they're probably really clueless. But like, give us just to start off, what got you into whiskey?
So originally, honestly, I've never been, well, I'll just say my whole alcohol journey. If there is, I guess everybody has their own alcohol journey, but
yeah.
I never like drank ever in high school or nothing. And then I got drafted and went in the minor leagues. You just kind of start hanging out. Never really much. I mean, I'm not really much of a drinker too much. And then I kind of got in the wine a little bit as I got in the big leagues. And obviously that gets expensive. And then once you open it up, you kind of got to drink the dang thing, So that kind of went on and kind of got away from it. Nothing big deal. And then fast forward recently in 2020, during that whole COVID year, I was playing with Cincinnati, and obviously with all the restrictions and everything, like not a lot of things you could do, like even the hotel, you're kind of stuck there. And then even at your home ballpark in Cincinnati, nothing big. So we would kind of just in the hotel play cards or just kind of hang out with each other. And a guy named Wade Miley, he's a pitcher. He's with the Cubs now. He's a collector. So I, randomly he was kind of doing with another guy, and then I kind of caught along with him. And, you go to Kroger and just pick up like Weller 107, like just right there, easy.
Especially in Ohio.
Yeah, like Ohio. So it was just like, it kind of got into that. And it was just kind of, I guess, a perfect time with like COVID and trying to like, take your mind off stuff. And I just started kind of like getting into it, and started kind of just collecting a little bit and just picking up stuff. And they kind of got in the routine of driving by liquor stores or this or that and just seeing what they got and kind of, just something small. And I think like ultimately, like even when I was into wine a little bit, like my family, we grew up, we kind of always had family friend parties and just kind of hung out. So like,
right.
I think the idea of like bringing a bottle and like just chilling by the fire with friends or just talking, like just that whole concept is like, I love that, So like, I think it was very easy for me to like, oh yeah, get a bottle, talk about it, share with friends, especially guys that don't know anything about bourbon or
right.
drinks in general. Like it's just a fun atmosphere to do. So like, there's nothing better than just having like just a glass at night and just hanging out and decompressing. So I think that whole kind of idea fit with who I am and just kind of like to chill at the end of the day or like even, hey, like come over, hey, let's have a glass, let's go sit outside and hang out, So like, it was very easy transition for me. And now I'm, nothing crazy, but I probably got like 100 bottles now, So it's like,
you're getting there, man. You're getting there.
It went like, it just went down the deep end pretty quick, and then you just kind of meet friends and stuff. Like I got a little network out here that I kind of got into. Like there's a guy, we went golfing today, dude. This guy's collection is ridiculous. I think it's the best in Arizona. And he was a former ball player as well. But I mean, everything, it's stupid, like I remember you sent me that little questionnaire or whatever to fill out, like all the craziest stuff I've ever tasted. It's with that guy, So like, but yeah, so that's my little journey. I just kind of caught onto it. There's nothing, and I kind of just went down the deep end and just checking everything out, dude. I mean, it's just like, now it's like, now I'm like, dude, do I really need to buy this bottle or not? Like now it's like
the answer is always yes.
I was just about to say that the answer is always yes.
Yeah, and now it's like I'm trying to do everything to talk myself out of not getting it. Like
you're not at 250 bottles yet, so you've got plenty of room to grow.
Yeah, but dude, like, yeah, I know. So, I don't know. It's just, it's been fun, and I really enjoy it. And I'm glad to be on here talking about it and just part of the community.
That's one thing I was talking to Paul about this was before this was, I wonder what like the go-to alcohol of choices in, not, in the affiliate league and in the league, kind of what are baseball players drinking? I know you spent a lot of time in AAA and a lot of time in the league as well. Is you mentioned wine? I kind of figured it was wine, but is bourbon popular throughout the clubhouse? Is that something that people are drinking, or is that something that isn't very popular?
I would say it's probably on the lower end. I would say beer for the sure, like, is probably the biggest thing. Like, people are popping up in beers after the game, but I feel like that's kind of everywhere.
Yeah.
When you go out to nice dinners, people are probably getting nice bottles of wine, or
Yeah.
scotch, especially in the big leagues, dude. I mean, you're buying Louis the 13, there's just kind of too much money, where it's just like,
Right.
it doesn't matter. You're just buying whatever, they'll buy the $400 Pappy pour just because it's $400, like, so like, that's kind of what goes on. It's more the most expensive, nicest kind of stuff that gets on with that. But I was bringing in bourbon. I was having a couple bottles all the time in my locker last year. And, I would just pour a glass. I would come in right after the game, pour a glass, and go in the cold tub and put on Morgan Wallen and just hang out, So like
that's a great night.
Nightly routine, like every time, no matter what. If I sucked or did good, that's what I did. So, but yeah, I think, I would say whiskey's
you got to have an I suck bottle and this was good bottle, just so you have incentive not to suck.
Well, what I was going to ask is what was that go-to bottle? And getting into the ice tub and putting on some Morgan Wallen, what was the most usual bottle or pour for that?
It was like, I mean, I brought them on the road, everything, dude. It was like, there was bottles all the time. I would say, I'm probably to the point now where I don't want to say like I've tasted everything, but like anything you could probably get your hands on, I've probably tasted now.
Yeah.
Like, as far as like normal stuff, right? Like, none of the crazy stuff, but like, anything you could find in a grocery store or liquor store, like, I've probably had now. So that, like, I think as a transition through like 2020 and 2021, like, that's kind of what I was going through, like getting everything, shoot, Wilderness Trail, Larceny, the Barrel Proof, and just picking up anything I could possibly see, like, just trying everything, but nothing too crazy, I would say, like, when I was in Oklahoma,
was it always a different bottle, or was it like a lot of times just the same bottle you just keep in there and
I would just
always have
the same one and drink it till it's gone and share with friends.
Nice.
I'd come, and there was another good bourbon drinker on the team, who was a closer. And so like, pour him a glass every time too. So, the bottles would go pretty quick, they'd probably last a couple days, 2-3 days. And then, pouring, hanging out, especially if you're winning, you're just pouring. And, and then especially like on the road, or, if my family isn't in town at the time, like, we're just gonna kind of hang out in the clubhouse, like.
So baseball players are superstitious, though. We know this. Like, nothing beats the Jason Giambi thong thing, but y'all are superstitious. If you were hot, would you make sure that you got the same bottle?
No.
So you're not that crazy.
I'm not that crazy. No, I'm not. Just, I think I'm over that stage. Like, cause like, dude, I'm going into my 14th season, and baseball has been like brought me a lot of joy. It's also brought me like a lot of pain, like, as far as like not making a team, or like being in AAA, or like, being away from family, like sucking. I've had some bad years too. Like, it caused a lot of pain. You try to work so hard and then you keep on sucking. So like, it caused a lot of pain. So like, I think I've put baseball in its appropriate box,
Gotcha.
and I could leave it there and turn the key and close the door and walk away just fine, so like, it wasn't, it wasn't always like that, but especially the past, like, 4 years or so, like, I've gotten that point where the superstitions are gone. The make sure I get here at this time, or like, oh, I better do this, because, I mean, I got 2 kids, I'm married, like been through it all, been hurt as hell, like friggin' wanting to quit, all that kind of, just like anybody else, like with their life and all that kind of stuff. I mean, life isn't always up, and so like
Mm-hmm.
I think I've been able to kind of throw that stuff away a little bit and like put it in its appropriate box. Like baseball doesn't run my life at all, so like, and it's kind of nice to be that way. So
Yeah, absolutely. That's one thing I wanted to ask you about that wasn't necessarily bourbon or whiskey related.
yeah.
The first game that, you were promoted to the major leagues, you fracture your foot. So
Do that.
what is your thought process
Hold on.
from
Time
that?
out. Time out. Time out. Time out. Time out. All right. So we're gonna cut. Give me 2 seconds. Like give a long pause here so I know where we're at. Connor, you're frozen.
I am.
You aren't now. And count to 3, then ask the question again.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. So one of the things that I wanted to ask, that's not really whiskey or bourbon related, is your first game you get brought up to the big leagues with the White Sox, you fracture your foot.
Yeah.
What goes through your head at that time? I assume, I'm not sure how did it happen, and also like it's your first game in the big leagues. What goes through your head, when something like that happens? Is it worrisome? Do you have an extra pour that night? Like what goes on?
Well, shoot, luckily I wasn't drinking too much then, but no, so in 2013, I got drafted in 2009 out of high school. And then 13, I debuted with the Diamondbacks. And then I got traded that offseason to the White Sox. And then so 14, I sucked horribly. 15, so I killed it like coming up from high school into the big leagues. I got the big leagues at 22, like super fast, like just really had no idea what I was doing, killing it. And I got traded. Kind of world got flipped upside down. I had a bunch of personal stuff I was going through as well. And then so 14, I sucked with the White Sox in AAA. I didn't make the team out of spring, sucked in AAA all year. 15, I sucked all year. And then like 16 that year, like kind of got with some new hitting coaches, kind of got myself under control a little bit and had a great year, and then got called up. First game, break my foot. Rounding first. I hit a base up the middle RBI, round first, and I break my foot. And then I go back to first. I'm like, dude, something's wrong. And then like next guy like strikes out, next guy hits a double. So I have to run to third. I'm looking like I'm already slow. And then that's even slower.
You're not Charles Johnson slow though.
Yeah, but so like
there's no way you're that slow.
I'm running to third with a broken foot. At that time, I thought, I was like, dude, I think I like plantar fasciitis. Like I popped my like plantar, like my tendon down there or something, because I just felt this rush of blood like on the bottom of my foot. So like, okay, but fuck, I gotta, it's like I finally got back to big leagues, right? Like, dude, I've had a horrible like 2.5 years or 2 years, and then I finally got back to where I was doing. So you get to third, and I'm like, dude, if somebody hits a sack fly here, I'm screwed. Like, I'm out. Like that's all I'm thinking about, And like, luckily, like I think the next guy gets a hit, or no, next guy walks or something, and I end up walking home. Like he walks home, so bases loaded and walks home, and I go in, and I go to the trainer.
Just like, thank God.
Yeah, I go to the trainer. I'm like, dude, like give me the best pain meds and just tape the shit on my foot. So I take my cleat off, and he tapes my foot up like as hard as he can, and I go back on, and I'm DHing. So then so I'm sitting in the dugout, I'm kind of like pacing back and forth, and I'm just like, dude, something's fucking wrong. But like, and then it's like 2 innings later, I start to come up to bat, and I'm down the tunnel, like running back and forth, just like, dude, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? This doesn't feel good. So then I get on deck, and then the last out, the guy strikes out or something, and then I'm left on deck, and then I go to Robin Ventura, and I'm like, dude, like I don't know what's wrong. My foot is fucking hurting. So next thing they have X-ray machines right there at the field. So I walked down the field, and sure enough, it was broken. And then like 2 weeks later, my son was being born, my second. So I got to be home for that. But no, dude, it was a mess. I mean, it was kind of a relief. It was a relief in a way, because I got back to big leagues and I was like, okay, I did it. I could do it again. You know, like I didn't lose it. I'm not going to have to find another job right now. You know, like it was it was honestly a relief and on that because dude, the previous couple of years were just like so freaking bad. Like I was walking home from the field crying, just like I got married right after I got in the big leagues in 13. So right before 14. So there's just a lot of changes, you know, and starting having kids and just a lot of stuff that young kid, like I thought I was mature enough and I was not mature enough anyway, you know. So I was like trying to deal with like real life shit and then also like try and perform on the field. And I just wasn't capable of doing that, you know.
Yeah.
So
it's a lot.
Yeah, it's just a lot. And yeah, man, I mean, it's I mean, everybody's dealing with their own shit, you know? Like, and I think like I just wasn't able to deal. Like it was almost like for whatever reason, it was just a lot of stuff for me off the field that like I couldn't like almost the baseball field was kind of like my safe spot just to kind of like chill. But I was supposed to
I feel that.
So it was like I couldn't even do it. But then again, you know, then with the Diamondbacks, I had all my coaches and that I was learning with, and then I leave, and then the White Sox I had no help with either, you know. So like I just kind of felt lost. I didn't know where I was doing. And but anyways, I mean that's just part of the journey, you know. Like so I had some rough years and then I kind of like figured it out after that and had some good years with them and then got released and or non-tendered and then I went and I've been all these other teams and all this stuff. So but no, man, it's been quite a journey. That's for sure. You know, it's been tons of ups and downs, and you know, luckily I got my wife with me and my kids, and you know, now they love going to the field and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, I mean, obviously, I would like to be making a lot more money and all that stuff, but you know, in the end, I'm very thankful for everything that I've been able to go through, and you know, and where I'm here now. And now we're just talking about whiskey. So, you know,
and it brought you to whiskey ultimately.
It brought me
ultimately. It got you there.
If I would have quit way back then, who knows? I never probably would have been in whiskey.
You'd be drinking wine, you know.
Yeah, right. I'd be
a wine sommelier.
I would be drinking Pabst Blue Ribbon, freaking pulling electrolytes.
So I have one more non-whiskey related question. I have to ask this, and I'm curious as to what the answer is. You hit your first major league home run. What does that like? Can you properly explain how that feels? Like, because every kid dreams about hitting a home run in the MLB.
Yeah,
I did throughout my childhood. So what does that feel like as, you know, bringing that into fruition, especially this is after the foot thing and, you know, you're coming back. How does that feel?
So I hit my first home run before that. I hit it with the Diamondbacks. But and I don't even know who I hit it off of. That's even bad, you know. I think like what's crazy to me, I look back like, and I would recommend this to like a lot of younger kids, and maybe it was just me, but I was always so caught up in like the next thing, you know, like performing better, you know, okay, well, I got to the big leagues. Okay, let's like play well now and let's like get a contract or this or that, right? Like it was always the next thing for me. I think like now that I've gotten older, I've really focused on like trying to really experience the moment, you know. Like I saw this I was listening to this it might have been a podcast. I mean, everybody does, a lot of people do like I mean, whatever. Like, so I was listening to a sermon on a podcast through a podcast where they always put on podcasts, you know, and it was like they kind of had this line of like, we're always looking to the future, and like, at what point, like, we always have this vision of, you know, our perfect day, or like, oh, dude, these are the best days of my life, you know, and like now I'm getting to the point where like, literally, like I try to wake up and like, hey, this is the best day of my life, you know, like especially with my wife and kids and everything.
Yes.
Like, hey, this is the day that I've always dreamed of, you know? And I never used to live like that. It was always like, dude, this isn't good enough. I got to do more, you know? So like, I feel like when I was younger, even my first homer, all this stuff, even when I was with the White Sox for a couple of years, like, I don't know if I really appreciated it as much as I did now. Like, you know what I mean? Like
hindsight of being young and being old.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Like, So like it was such a blur then, I talk to my wife all the time, my wife was there and all this stuff. It's like, dude, but now these moments now that we cherish, like the home runs now are just like so much better, I feel like, like I really cherish them more. Like it was such a blur. I mean, but then, and it was amazing when I did it for sure. Like the Diamondbacks were my favorite team growing up. Just to do it at Chase Field and everything like that. Like it was sick, dude. Like it's unbelievable. Like, I've always been a huge fan of baseball. Like I love baseball. I never kind of did it just because I was good. I just like I truly love it. Like I would sit
You're
down.
obviously decent.
Not
but
bad.
but like I would sit down and watch like with my glove or bat, when I was younger and like
Right.
watch the game. Like I truly love it. Like it wasn't just, oh, you're really good. Oh, here you go, a scholarship, this or that. Like, oh, and then you kind of like fall into it. Like, dude, I've loved baseball my whole life. Like I give hitting lessons right now in the off season, like I just love going and
Wow.
talking about hitting and all that
We were
kind of
talking
stuff.
to two guys that played low level college baseball that had those. You've done the things we dreamed about, man. Like
Yeah.
so,
I
Yeah.
like
wish
we
I could
would,
be in your position.
we would dream about what it would be like to walk on a field, or I was a pitcher, so I wasn't
Yeah,
really.
man.
I was dreaming about striking people like you out, not
Yeah.
necessarily hitting them over the fence. So,
Yeah.
but
No, dude, that's what I'm trying to focus on a lot more now, especially as I'm getting older and like my
kids, man, I'm telling you what, kids put shit in perspective, don't they? They make you soft.
yeah. Dude, when kids come, when my son, like he has baseball practice tomorrow, like he comes to field, he lives for it. Like, I make sure I try to give him the clubhouse every day I possibly can, like I just really try to cherish the moments a lot more now. I think as you get older, you do, like
Yeah, for sure.
I guess like, like it's always like, I mean, no matter where you're at, you're always going to want more, right? Like I almost look at my career as like a failure of comparatively to where I wanted it to be, right? Like everybody wants to be making the huge contract, right? Like
You could
everybody
look
wants,
at it compared to our careers.
well, everybody wants to be, I mean, but that's the thing. Everybody like, I want to be Corey Singer signing a 10-year,
For
320
sure.
Yeah.
deal, right? I mean, everybody like, I mean, you guys want to have Joe Rogan's podcast, like, right? Like eventually,
Yeah,
like, like
absolutely. Yeah, I mean,
100%.
it's that competitive spirit, man. Like,
yeah, it's the competitive.
I feel that. Like, even you can't, and that's what I think some people don't understand about being an athlete and then not being an athlete. Like, I'm so fucking competitive. If I saw two cockroaches going up a wall, I would bet on which one was gonna win, and then like stomp it if it lost. Like
Yeah.
it's the competitive, and I know it's ridiculous to make that comparison, but it's that competitiveness, and it's not that you're rooting against someone. You just want to be 0.01% more successful than that person because that's your competitive drive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you just want that. And I think you expect the most out of yourself, So then you like, you're always just like, damn, if I would have done this, I would have done that, like it's not, and I don't live in regret whatsoever, I think like I'm super grateful for my life. And um I love that everything that, God has provided for me, and I've been able to provide a family. Like I get to go buy nice bottles of bourbon, and like
Yeah.
not necessarily have to think about it. Like, so like I'm very thankful for that. But I think, yeah, like you said, like the competitive part, you're always kind of like, damn, yeah, I kind of want more, I want this. But I think that's where like that, when I was kind of listening to that sermon, it was like, I need to start more thinking about like this is the day that like I've always dreamed of, like these are I need to think of my days when I wake up tomorrow, like, dude, this is the day I've always dreamed of. Like I get to wake up with my kids, I get to do this, like blah, 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 and I think like I've been really trying to do that a little bit more, because life's super busy, dude,
Yeah, I agree.
and like we always want more, and there's nothing wrong with wanting more, but we also got to, take time to reflect to like get us back in that like perspective of like, because I mean, dude, we always work towards this like this kind of like utopia idea, right? Like of what we want our life to be, and it's like, damn, I don't know if I ever get there. But like you kind of can live it right now if you kind of put yourself in that perspective, and
Right.
that's what I'm trying to do more so now is like I want to live in that perspective. Like I want to ice bath and have whiskey every night and listen to music. Like I mean, shoot, I want to hang out with my family and I want to do good. I want to hit a homer and like, and it's crazy the way when you think about it, like that's kind of where I was at last year. It was like I was really trying to cherish everything, and like and just be super passionate about it. I mean, I'm a pretty chill guy. Like I'm not a rah-rah guy or this or that, like
Right.
um but like, like why not hit a homer and then celebrate and have a whiskey and be with my family and this and that, and like just try to have the best day ever every single day, because like I mean, we work so hard to try to have our ideas come to fruition, it's like sometimes they're already here. We just got to think that way.
Or sometimes, maybe on that day that idea doesn't happen, and just realizing that that's okay.
Yeah.
There's tomorrow. And I remember while you were saying that, it reminded me of, this is nothing in comparison to what you've been doing, but my senior year of high school, I already knew I was going to a specific college to play baseball, and just kind of the worry lifted off of me. And I remember I performed better at the plate that season. And it was because I just didn't care. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm here having fun. This is what I want to do. Playing, whether it was high school or Legion that year, this is what I want to do. And I couldn't, legally drink whiskey at that time, but I still did. But I'm just thinking of that, today's the best day. And I remember
Yeah,
thinking
dude.
the
Like,
same way. I totally agree with that.
dude, I'll show you a picture. Like, this is, you guys will appreciate this. I'm sure you guys smoke cigars too, right?
Of
Oh,
course.
too much for a 25-year-old.
So this is like during the
That's
game,
hilarious.
down in the dugout.
That's
Just
a
puffing on a
classic
cigar.
picture.
I
Just,
love it.
it was like, you're just enjoying the moment, like, and I think like you said, when you have things in perspective, and it's such a weird concept, right? And it's like the more you care, the worse you do in everything, right? Like you got to put everything in its own box, like you got to care a lot, but like you got to treat it accordingly. And I think like that's so true in like in sports or any type of performance based thing, like if you're trying too hard, man, it's almost detrimental, and
Yeah.
it's that weird like happy medium of where you need to be in mentally. And I've definitely spent a lot of time on that, like caring too much and trying to do too much and trying to be too perfect and this and that.
Mhm.
And it never really, worked out very well for me, like it's just a balance, right? Like,
Yeah.
and I think like that's why sometimes the guys that don't even care and there's really good, like there's something to it,
Right.
there's
Right.
definitely something to it.
What I think is interesting about you coming on the show, and this like literally hit me like 5 minutes ago. You are playing America's pastime, in love with America's spirit, on
Yeah.
a podcast about Bourbon Across America. Like, how fucking awesome is that? That just all just fell into place. And it's really stupid that I didn't think about this when I asked you. But like now I'm just sitting here. I was like, oh, this is great. Like I will have to figure how to play this in like the show notes or something. But um I'm so intrigued by your story because I know we haven't talked a ton of whiskey, but I think what you're saying is so motivational in so real life. And this is kind of the whole point about Bourbon Across America. It doesn't necessarily have to be about bourbon because this is your story and bourbon's intertwined in this. Um,
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about now, right? Like, so we've kind of walked through your journey and everything. And then we see this picture that you just posted. And for those of you that don't see the video, obviously, it's him in a cigar in the dugout. How do you see now whiskey playing into your life going forward? Baseball obviously is there. That's the career path. What do you see for whiskey? Is this something that you want to take into, a big hobby? Do you ever see yourself doing tastings? Do you ever see yourself incorporating it into, guys that are in the sport as well and educating them? How do you kind of see yourself playing into this community?
Yeah, I mean, shoot, man, I haven't thought too much about that. I mean, I'm still developing my palate. Like, I don't have a great palate, like I kind of know what I like and know what I don't, but like I'm still developing that. So I'm still trying to, learn and all that kind of stuff. But I think like I definitely show, like, it was cool this year, like showing dudes like, oh, dude, try this. Oh, you like that? You like this? Like, just kind of drinking and having fun. I think like the biggest thing like that bourbon helps me do is like getting that alone time with that, say, one person or a couple guys, and like share the life stories like that I just did, and like help them. There was multiple times this year, man, that I helped some dudes like in the private, like I said, I'm not this huge rah whole team meetings, this kind of like BS that like wants to get the ego involved and like have people see what I'm doing, right? But there was multiple times where dudes pulled me aside and asked me like mental stuff, like, dude, I'm struggling with this anxiety or like this or
Right.
that, like, or like, dude, how do you do this or that, because they just saw me like this. I mean, I'm not old, but like this older dude, I was 30 this year. I'll be 31 next year, but I was going.
That's cute. You're a baby. You
Yeah,
and
but
Connor are
like,
both little
well,
babies over
in
here.
baseball, dude, in baseball, it's definitely older, but like, guys that like, they go see me, like, I'm chilling, like, I got my kid in there, I'm watching him half the time. I'm, like, I know my swing, I do my workouts, I do this or that. Like, I do it very efficiently and I don't need to spend a lot of time at it, Like, I'll hit, like, there'd be games I wouldn't even hit before and like go and hit a home, And like, so they see like kind of like the bare minimum. I don't want to say
A relaxed mentality. How about that? That's a good word.
Yeah, like I did all the work I needed and I know what works to help me perform at my best, right? And then like I go and do it, and then or I'll go strike out 4 times, and then I'll go and I'll still have a glass of whiskey, and I'll sit in an ice tub and I'll still be perfectly fine, Like
there's always tomorrow.
They see the same guy, but hey dude, I mean, like, that's the craziest thing. I always tell this story with baseball. Like, these guys are getting all worked up, but dude, you guys don't understand. You're signing a contract to do really well and hit 4 for 4 with 4 home runs, but you're signing the same exact contract that you could go for 4.
Yeah.
Like, you guys don't realize that like all you want is the good stuff. You don't realize that the bad comes with it, And but anyways, like, I think bourbon helped me sit down with guys, have a drink, chill out, share my life experiences, listen to their experiences, and be like, dude, you're going to be fine. I've been there, like, I think that's like the thing that bourbon has really truly helped me with is like just slow time down a little bit, relax, and like use that bottle that you're like, dude, I got this. This is sick. This age statement, this is sick. This is the story here. And then like I listen to his story, and like next thing you know, like he's pitching better, tomorrow, or the next time he gets in, because of that conversation with bourbon that we had, that was just a small thing in the corner, but that we were able to like really break down the barriers and like get real with like, dude, because like I said earlier, baseball's caused me a lot of pain, like true pain, like a lot of pain in my life, and which is fine. Everybody has pain, right? So like, but like it really has, it allows me to open up and that other person to open up and be like, dude, this is real. Like, this is fine. You're going to be just fine, but this is something we got to work on, or this or that, and I think like that has allowed me to kind of do that. So I think that's like, as far as the bourbon community is like, I'm more of the messenger of it, not necessarily like the bigger poster child or like the tastings or this or that, but like this, like the small quiet conversations that maybe make a big deal, like, in the life and in some other realm of that,
Yeah. What's so truthful though is, and it's really interesting, like just listening to your story and how you're putting things. I've drank bourbon longer than maybe both of you actually. And the thing that I find interesting is what you're saying is, how it slows things down. And I don't know if I've actually thought about that fully until you've just said that. And it's true. Like when when you're really sitting down and drinking bourbon or whiskey, whichever, and especially you break out a cigar, it's amazing how time stands still almost, and about 2 weeks ago, it got cold here in Kentucky. I lit the fire pit. I went outside. I smoked 2 cigars. I drank half a bottle of whiskey. That was a very interesting decision to do by myself. It was 107 proof Boone County, and it was fun. But it's amazing. Like you look down and you don't even realize, like, and people are like, "Oh, you're an alcoholic." No, I don't drink that much. People, and that's the other misconception, right? People think, oh, you are a collector, you do this, you must drink like a fish every day. No, it's not. It's not what happens. We enjoy the
Yeah,
spirit.
one
But it's
glass.
amazing when you get into that moment, right, where time stands still. You can drink a half a bottle. You don't feel it because at the time you don't realize you've been out for 5 hours having a conversation,
Yeah,
Right.
doing all these things, and how it brings, and ultimately Bourbon Across America, this is what it's about, how it brings people together. And you're affecting younger people and their careers and how they think, and even like to an extent their mental health of where they're at
Right.
over bourbon, because it's that sit down, have this glass, let's talk about what you're going through, and just take a breath, man. Like
yeah,
at the end of the day, it's gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. And that's really cool how you're doing that.
At the end of the day, a bourbon with friends can change the world, and that's what it's doing
yeah,
in every individual person's world. That little advice that you give them over a glass of bourbon, over a glass of whiskey, that changes their perspective on it. And
yeah,
you being the old guy in the clubhouse, you know they they trust you, I'm sure, and look up to you in a way. And giving that advice, especially over a glass of whiskey, over a glass of American Spirit, a bourbon, is that's kind of, I feel like, the overarching premise of not only Bourbon Across America, but just whiskey and bourbon in general. That's what this was meant to do. It's not like when you're 20, 21 years old and you're drinking for one purpose, and that's just to get drunk. But
yeah,
when you grow up and it's like you experience all these different things, there's more to it. There's
yeah,
more than just drinking to get to that one specific place. There's drinking to gain connections,
Mm-hmm.
to have conversation, to experience something that you honestly cannot experience over a cup of coffee or over a dinner.
yeah.
Stuff with bourbon, especially between guys, stuff, having a glass of whiskey and having a cigar, it's a totally different element.
Yeah, dude. I mean, the whiskey brings down the walls, for men, and you're able just to talk real and like, you listen to the wind, you listen to trees, like it really does. I mean, think about all the great, like, the great things that, even your dad or grandfather or whoever, somebody you looked up to, you let them drink a little, like just a glass or two, and it just relax them a little bit to where they actually say stuff that they probably wouldn't have said completely sober, and like, and I think they open up and I think you learn a lot of wisdom from that. And, like you said, you're not drinking to drink to get drunk at all, like you just have a glass or two and that's it. I mean, you barely even feel it. I mean, unless you got a big old barrel proof, but like, you know what I mean? But like, but yeah, dude, I think that's been the coolest thing for me is like, just, yeah, slow down. And it really does slow you down. And it's just like, sit there and it's not all a rush, dude. This world now is in such a rush. I mean,
Yes.
I'm super bad about it as well.
Right.
I think everybody is. I mean, everything wants your attention at all times, you know, notifications all the time. I mean, this and that, fast. And you try to do so many things throughout the day, and there's nothing better than just pouring a little glass at the end of the day, and hanging out and talking, I mean, I'm even getting my brother-in-law into bourbon right now. He's moving out here to Arizona.
Contaminating the whole family, huh?
Yeah, but I mean, it's cool how, we'll sit down and just watch the kids play or this or that, and then you have a glass and you start um opening up and doing this,
Mm-hmm.
and you're just, giving bottles here and there and this and that, and try this, try that, and it opens up the friendship of that, and yeah, dude, because I mean, in a society now that you're supposed to be, I mean, shoot, who knows what the society tells you to be now. But I think it's good for, a lot of men are just trying to like stand their ground for the most part, in today's society, and just trying to like stand strong. And maybe we all don't know how to do that, but like, to let those walls down a little bit and just deal with the things you do, because I mean, me naturally, like, dude, I wear kind of everything on my sleeve, and like when I'm pissed, and I want to get it over with and get it out of my system, and I'm good, Like I'm not a big guy that holds stuff in because it just eats me alive. So like
Mm.
for me, it's a little bit easier because I just let it go, you know. Or I mean, like I say it and get it out. Like I don't
Yeah.
hold shit in and go crazy because like I go crazy, you know.
Yeah.
Like
So
I get that, so it gets out of my system right away, and I do it. So not everybody's like that, you know, but bourbon does kind of help that kind of just alleviate for sure.
Absolutely.
So, I mean,
Matt,
I'm no mental health specialist because I should be wearing a straight jacket and jumping off white padded walls. But like, other than that, like, you know, I don't know, just trying to figure it out.
Matt, when you are in the league this year, inevitably when it happens again, I think we just have to like find a city that's in the middle, and we'll have to like come watch you and then have a drink afterwards. I think that's just what needs to happen.
For sure. Well, I signed with the Diamondbacks, so I'm gonna be staying at home, which will be nice, and we'll be doing that. Yeah. So
And if Connor can't come, I'll just when you come to Cincinnati, I'll come up and we'll go watch you play.
dude, Cincinnati, we're like, I got to find out the schedule, but we're going to be going to some distilleries. Or how far is Kentucky from? It's just, I mean, how far is like
50
Bourbon
minutes.
Road
If you want to do something, let me know and I'll help you guys out and see what connections that we can swing into that and get you guys some fun stuff.
Because there's a catcher on the Diamondbacks, Carson Kelly. He's a big bourbon guy too. So he'll be my 1-2 punch when we're drinking in the clubhouse for sure.
That
it,
and depending on when it is, maybe we can get you to come to this bourbon ball or something like that.
Yeah.
We'll see.
No, dude,
that might be a little harder but we'll see how it goes. It'll be fun. But whenever you get down to this area, definitely we can help you out with some fun stuff like that. It's like an hour and 15 away from all the distilleries. So
okay. Yeah, no, dude, we're in. Like, I'm totally like, I'm sold. Like I went golfing with some dudes today, and then we stopped by this liquor store. There's this liquor store out here. It's called Magnum's. Kind of like in more central Phoenix. And they do a ton of barrel picks. I mean, legit stuff. It's probably one of the better. There's probably one of two that's in all of Phoenix that probably gets the best barrel picks and everything like that. So it's a good spot. So we went by there. I didn't get anything because nothing too much caught my eye. I've been buying all this stuff off of like Seal Box recently.
Yep.
I bought that Blue Run today. Have you guys tried that?
I haven't. I haven't tried it yet. We're waiting to see if we get them on the show.
Yeah. So I just bought that new one. It was like I got the holiday one the other day, and I got some other one, but then I got dude, it's kind of cool. There's a Red Hot Lollipop today. They got that 12 single barrel set or whatever they're doing, the 12 days of Christmas. Dude, I mean,
need all of them.
You need all of them, right?
All of them. Yeah, absolutely.
It's just like, where does this thing stop, dude? That's the thing I'm trying to deal with.
Whiskey doesn't stop in any aspect.
It doesn't stop.
None.
It's crazy, dude.
Matt, thank you so much for joining us. This has been really fun. I really appreciate you opening up, telling us your story. It's really inspiring. It's really cool for us, and how whiskey really ties into it. So, man, I really appreciate it. And dude, I know you're 30, but you got plenty of years left to kill it and still get that big contract. I believe in you, man. I think you can do it. If anybody can do it, I think you can.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Yeah, that's the plan. That's looking at it like the second half of my career. So
as a dad, I hope you get that big contract just so you can look at your kid and look at him and say, I know that for the rest of your life that you ain't got nothing to worry about, man. Like and I'm sure as a dad, that's the thing that you think about. Like, it's not the glory. It's not that. It's your kids, and it changes your life and how you perceive it, you know?
Yeah, for sure, dude. You get the kids, and that's all you ever think about, you know?
Yeah. Well, dude, thank you so much. We'll be rooting for you this season. And remember, Bourbon with Friends can change the world.
Let's go.